It took me all of this time, up until I was confronted with death in my family, to truly get serious about gaining financial knowledge. You know, the stuff they don't teach us about in schools. In my last video, I talked about everything I learned about the logic behind a Muslim funeral for converts who didn't understand the Islamic burial rituals and rites. Well, I didn't expect to learn anything about money during this time, but I did. And the whole experience made me change the way I think about money, family organizations, and stability. Let's talk about it. So the first thing I want to just get this out the way is that when someone dies, available cash flow is more important than your overall wealth. You know, death in this part of the world can be expensive. You know, we live in Ottawa. So in Canada, just like other Western countries, death can be a huge financial expense. And the money is needed immediately, especially for Muslims, because when we die, it's our tradition to be transitioned into the ground within 3 days. But the money doesn't always move that fast. Even if you have life insurance, I mean, you have to provide documentation that the loved one is now dead, and there has to be medical reports, etc. So the time when your family members die and the money comes in, there's still some panic in the air because families are being faced with $15,000 for a casket and over $1,000 for a tombstone, and fees for digging the grave and funeral home expenses and buying food. And it's in this time where I witnessed such beautiful community support from GoFundMes, people stopping by the house to give money and cooked food. And we need to keep those traditions going. You know, I really just wanted to take this opportunity to say that we shouldn't look down upon community support through GoFundMes, because it's one of the rare chances we get to truly be there for our people, even when we have life insurance. Okay, so talk about your funeral arrangements and arrange for the final expense so that your family isn't faced with exorbitant fees at the end of your life. The second thing I learned about money is that individual financial independence is fragile, and that family systems provide more enduring security. So after your family member is buried, reality hits. Losing an income earner can destabilize your entire household, and everyone should be questioning, how do we keep this household running? And this applies to any income earner. It could be your spouse, a parent, or the adult children who live at home and contribute. When an income earner passes away, that person's income should be replaced by the insurance money, because your family is still depending on it. Now, the bank gave our family a 3-month grace period after the death of my auntie. And that window meant a lot to us, because within that time, we restructured our family, we combined our resources, and this is where my belief in cooperative economics and family structures became a reality and not just a theory. The third thing I learned about money is that being legally married matters more than we think. So we have to talk about respect for marriage and your spouse, because divorce kills family wealth, period. Being married favors wealth accumulation and preservation. Being legally married is favored in the eyes of the government too, it seems. Like, after my auntie passed away, I witnessed how the government and the CRA treated the situation when it came to all the legal work. So when we were settling accounts and dealing with pensions and bank accounts and paperwork, I noticed the real impact of being legally married. When dealing with traditional marriages, the government sees you two as a team. So for example, the government automatically assumes that family assets are shared between spouses, no matter whose name is on what document. Both spouses have rights to assets and provision upon death. When one spouse dies, the surviving spouse is in a protected class, so that the transfer of assets and wealth could be done in a way where it's protected from creditors. And the fact that the government recognizes the rights of spouses means that if you don't have a will, the blow of not having a will is less intense, because when you die without a will, your estate is settled through probate. And probate recognizes the rights of the surviving spouse to provision and ownership of assets. Now, the fourth thing I learned about money is that having wealth without guidance can lead to loss and missed advantages. Now, when an elder dies or an income earner dies, there is often a transfer of wealth to somebody else in the family. And when you inherit large sums of wealth, it comes with a lot of stress and confusion. Because when you have all this money, you have a lot of pressure to manage it right. You start questioning, what if I mismanage this money? What do I do with all of this? How do I invest it? How do I make good decisions? I don't want to lose it, I remember sitting with our financial planner many times, and he really helped us get through what seemed like a whirlwind of confusion and steep learning curves. We were discussing pensions, investments, insurance, retirement accounts, and all this back and forth with the CRA. Honestly, it unlocked a whole new level of adulting. So in summary, make sure to get a financial advisor to help with the financial transfer of wealth after someone dies, so that you can make the right decisions and maximize the growth and investment of the sums of money that you inherit, so that it's not squandered. So finally, this brings me to the fifth thing I learned about money, and that my entire mindset about money had to evolve. One day I was sitting at the dining room table trying to research and get like a financial degree in 20 minutes before the financial planner came, because we were supposed to talk about different types of investments and whatnot. And I realized how little I knew about like this Western finance game and how to have personal financial goals for security now and in the future when our earning potential decreases because we're aging. And I hadn't thought about it this way. As a Muslim, in the back of my mind, I always thought that chasing money or being overly concerned with wealth accumulation was somehow un-Islamic, or chasing the dunya. That was the idea in the back of my mind. Perhaps I didn't have the time to truly dig into personal finance, after getting through university and dealing with marriage and relationships and having a baby. And, it took all of my adult life right around the age of maturity to see the importance of getting a grip on financial planning for the future, not just for my old age, but for my daughter as well. So learning about investment and saving and where to place your financial assets is not un-Islamic. It's not chasing the almighty dollar. What I learned was that life insurance protects your family when you pass away, but investment savings provide security for you while you're alive. So that's it. Through all of this, I got a glimpse into how families should restructure and support each other emotionally and financially through shared responsibility and contribution. And it made me ask, what if we didn't wait until death to organize like this? What if families lived as organized mini corporations on purpose? What if we intentionally built family systems and structures that create and protect wealth and intergenerational wealth for survival now and in the days ahead and for the future generations? It made me realize that the age of toxic individuality is over, and that survival in the coming days is collective. And what better place to start organizing than with your closest, most trusted, and dependable community that you have, your family. And that's the conversation that I want to have on this YouTube channel. So in the next video, I'm breaking down how intentional and group or family-based living can create generational wealth and real security. Thank you for watching today, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of Allah and His bounties.